Greetings of peace. This video I'm going to make today is about the aftermath of colonization of indigenous peoples. So I was watching a video the other day on World Star where a Southern Indian woman made a video about how her parents disowned her because she wanted to be in a relationship with an African American man. So for those of you who don't know, India was once a British colony. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing. This video made me think, because it made me think about how the effects of colonization are enduring even generations after, said country's supposed to be decolonized. Like, this woman is also about my complexion. So, you know what I'm saying? So obviously, well, here's the thing, it is a different culture, but, you know what I'm saying, that's something that was given to them from the British. Now, one thing I noticed about the after effects of colonization, in particular like West Africa, the Caribbean, et cetera, is that a lot of folks, they do not consider their kinky coily hair or their dark features or their broad features to be beautiful. Like if you look at the Dominican baseball player, Sammy Sosa, you know what I'm saying? He bleached his skin. You know what I'm saying? He's a very, he was a very dark-skinned man. He had a lot of women, so I don't understand, but whatever he saw in the mirror, he didn't like, you know what I'm saying? And that comes from, the Caribbean, that particular island being a Spanish colony, you know what I'm saying? The thing is this, these countries, who went around and colonized different parts of the world, they have now moved on, you know what I'm saying? They're in a new age. They have their own struggles, you know what I'm saying? They have their own struggles, right? And their own problems, and they're past that. You know what I'm saying? Now, the citizens of these former colonies, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's time for them to move on. You know what I'm saying? They no longer under the rule of these colonies. They have their own unique culture, their own unique identity. They might speak the language that was given to them by the colonizer. Some speak their own twist or their own patois, et cetera, but I don't understand, you know what I'm saying, why you need to live, by the standard of another people. Yes, they may have shut up shop in your island. Yes, the bonds of, the trauma of slavery and bondage runs deep, and we can see that all over the world by people who are colonized. And I'm not trying to, throw salt on another's wound or make light of their pain, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's time to move forward. Now, other cultures, you know what I'm saying, they're going to have ideas about other groups of people, et cetera, and some cultures, some groups of people are more palatable to them than others. That I understand. Coming up, you know what I'm saying, I would even, dealing with other dark-skinned people who are of African descent, you know what I'm saying, that may be born here or from other countries, they would always make fun of other people of the same ethnicity if they were darker, make fun of their dark skin. Or there's this thing with people of African descent that, that they shouldn't grow out their hair, you know what I'm saying, or that they should always keep it short because it's unprofessional or it's ghetto or et cetera, et cetera. But those are the natural features that God gave you. And I don't understand why, you know what I'm saying, it's something you should be ashamed of. Now me, I like my hair short because my hair is rough. You know what I'm saying? It's rough and it becomes tedious to manage. So I like to keep it short because it's easier that way. But, growing up, early on, I did not think my features were beautiful because of this, because of this indoctrination. So for those of you who don't know, my mother's family's from Panama, but I have ties to Jamaica and Barbados. There's some Native American there, and then I have a Palestinian grandfather. So, I have other things going. My father is from Nigeria, from West Africa. So some of that stuff was handed down through the grapevine, particularly, you know what I'm saying, and in my community, a lot of us were of Caribbean descent, et cetera, and a lot of that was handed down, you know what I'm saying, that type of, because when these European countries came to colonize these countries, they set up a caste system. each country and each colony had their own spin of the caste system, but pretty much the lighter skin, the fair skin with the sharper, narrow features and the straighter hair were seen as higher up or more classier or higher class than those who were dark or had the broader features, etc. And this was divide and conquer, and this was to incentivize that colony to develop the values of that particular nation that had put its roots there. It's psychological, you know what I'm saying? You're a human chattel, so you were brought up as livestock, and so it was never really about that they hated the people that they were colonizing or they thought they were inferior. It was a psychological game because these people were treated as livestock. They were a commodity in a domesticated product, and they had to find a way, to herd them like sheep. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, in the Queen of Britain, you know what I'm saying? The British went into Nigeria and they conquered the Edo and the Yoruba and other tribes of people. But one of the queens of England took a Yoruba girl, and adopted her as a daughter, right? And she was considered as a princess. So no, these people didn't really think the people they were called, if they were inferior, they wouldn't have colonized them in the first place. For these countries to go into these lands and do what they did, right? They obviously saw some type of value or some type of beauty or something of intrinsic value in these people and their culture to invade it in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Most of these countries that were invaded and colonized, they didn't need anything from the outside world. They were unto themselves. They had everything they could need, and their lives, you know what I'm saying? It was like a mini paradise for themselves. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you know what I'm saying? These countries have moved on. It's been hundreds of years. And for you, if you're a citizen or a descendant of any of these countries where you come out of being a European colony, it's time to decolonize your mind and move forward with the rest of the world and take your affairs take your stand in the affairs of true men and women. You know what I'm saying? And get into the game of being, being world class. You know what I'm saying? I have met many people who were prejudiced, who had prejudiced ideas towards people of my ethnicity, but they took an exception to me because of the way I carried myself, and they even taught me things despite their certain bias. You know what I'm saying? And that has been a reoccurring theme in my life. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, humans are, we go based on pattern recognition. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how it is. So, but anyways, this is not a perfect world. You're always going to have people that don't like you for whatever reason, whether it doesn't have to be about your ethnicity or your skin color, or it could be for any reason, but you got to go in and put your best foot forward and be the best person you could be under God's roof. You know what I'm saying? And be upright and just give you 100% every day. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, you got to deal with those who like you. It makes no sense in trying to chase after things or people or ideas or groups or anything that don't want you. If you're not a vibrational match, you know what I'm saying? Or if your cultural values don't align, then they don't align. You can agree to disagree. It doesn't have to be disrespectful. It doesn't have to be violent. It doesn't have to be a big thing. You know what I'm saying? You can talk and, you can reason and et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? What I notice about those of us who are of African descent, you know what I'm saying? They're quick to emotionally react and violent to certain terms like the N-word with the hard R, or, you know what I'm saying? Like they have this way about them. How can, without getting too explicit, like, I can see that they're very sensitive to how people of other ethnicities in other countries and other nationalities view them. And I don't understand why. You know what I'm saying? How can I say? I mean, the thing is this: trillions of dollars are spent by people of African descent in this country. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing: you have everything you need to make a lane for yourself where you don't really need to depend on anybody or be concerned with the thoughts of others. You have the material, you just don't have the mindset. You know what I'm saying? You need to learn to work with what you have. You know what I'm saying? Pre-70s, you know what I'm saying? People of African in this descent in this country didn't need for anything. They had their own schools, their own hospitals, their own, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe it may not have been good as mainstream society because, you know, they were coming out of slavery in the 1800s. But had they kept on that trajectory, everything would have worked out fine. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, really what I see that destabilized people of, you know, the communities of African descent in this country was the crack cocaine era. You know what I'm saying? And it's a shame that it happened, but it did happen. But I don't see how can I say, if you feel like you're inferior or second place to somebody, then you're not doing everything you can every day to be the best you. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? If somebody doesn't like you, they don't like you. But you know what I'm saying? It's time to move forward. It's time to, you know, boss up. It's time to man up, women up, and look towards the future. You know what I'm saying? And put 120% every day into whatever it is, into cultivating your mind, your body, your spirit, your finances, et cetera, et cetera. The opinions of the world and the others and how people feel about XYZ, it's irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? You got to take everything day by day, step by step.